Aloha, friends and neighbors. Welcome. This is program 1052 in Astrology, Ancient Science in the Modern World. I'm Rollin, Kona astrologer. Hopefully I'm back safely from the mainland for a solar return. It was terrible here in Kona, so I had to skedaddle over to the west coast. Anyway, we're going to go through the last few days of January, first few days of February for you and see what's going on, what's coming up in the sky mirror. I've got a chart all drawn up for you here. And what you notice immediately is Jupiter is still opposing Uranus. Now this fight, this battle between Jupiter, the rich lawyers, and 1%, opposing Uranus, which is environmentalists, common sense, homeless people, astrologers. This battle is still going on. It's mediated by Saturn, who's the judge, is trying to settle it out. I noticed they settled out some of the Israeli stuff. Well, maybe. The sun is in Aquarius, and it's going from 8 degrees to 18. So at the end of your next week, it'll be at 18 degrees and 18 degrees of air, and it'll complete the bowl, we call it, and try to mediate this problem between Jupiter and Uranus also. Anyway, sure ain't comfortable for me, I'll tell you. Anyway, I'm here on the 29th of December, trying to get some shows done early. Let's get down to business. I've got the planetary pattern. Let's see, here's Mercury, and Mercury's about to get in trouble squaring Uranus, and then it squares Jupiter. So you can see little red lines here. The dates, Mercury does it Tuesday afternoon, squares Uranus. And you may find there's some difficulties communicating and transportating, and hard to think in words. You get little glitches and stutters. And that's Tuesday afternoon. When you get to Thursday morning, Mercury squaring Jupiter, the other side of this battle we're having in the sky, and that'll make you talk too much, laugh too much, chatter too much, overdo. Your thoughts won't settle down. So Mercury's going to teach us a little bit about this opposition. Now we're going to run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern, and as it does, it makes angles to the various entities in the sky and gives us a mood of the times. If you're on the Thursday show, well, Wednesday night I went by Pluto, things got a little radical. The moon was in Capricorn, and all day Thursday, and into the evening also. So it tended to give you a little more of this T-square, a little bit of that opposition feeling. Friday, on the 27th of January, the moon's in Aquarius. And here's the new moon point, right here, Friday afternoon. The new moon is at 8 degrees of Aquarius. Yeah. And it it gets rid of Neptune stuff a bit, and doesn't make major angles to things. Aquarius is a nice fixed air sign, and so we get kind of intellectual, and everybody feels the common sense of Aquarius. It's kind of a nice sign. So Friday, be with somebody that is important to you. New moons always start a whole new cycle, for another month. And so you want to do things on new moons that you figure are going to go on for a while. Yeah. So it's a good starting moon. On Saturday, the moon's still in Aquarius on the 28th. And here in the middle of the day, there's a sextile to Uranus. And then in the afternoon and evening, there's a trine to Jupiter. And finally, after dinner, here's a sextile to Saturn. So a lot of stuff could get done here. A lot of meaningful things could happen as the moon goes through the end of Aquarius. Turns on all these fire and air planets. And maybe we can mediate some of the problem. I noticed the Russians are in there at the end of December 2016 and managed to broker a ceasefire over there. So, maybe that was a good thing. Something happened that on this new moon that changed things. This is the new moon in Capricorn I'm just working on. So here's a month ahead, new moon in Aquarius, and this could further constructive communication amongst the politicians and judges and rich people and independent and rebels, yeah? So, yeah, ceasefire. Let anybody left in Aleppo? I don't know. Sunday, the 29th, the moon goes into Pisces. Pisces starts here. It's a mutable water sign, so everything is more changeable and mutable. In the afternoon, early afternoon, the moon goes by the south node here at 4 degrees of Pisces, so we feel like we need a little help. And then late in the evening, this is 9-10 o'clock, the moon goes by Neptune. Now, if this is good for your chart, if you've got a lot of earth and water, in the first part of the signs, it could be good. You could get some music, some inspiration, read Jesus. When the Bible says heavens insert sky. Anyway, you could have some moments of enlightenment from the heart, or you could just get confused. Don't drink Sunday night. You could also feel lost. Monday morning, January 30th, you're still feeling this Neptune thing, feel a little unsteady, feel a little bit lost. That's normal. Don't worry. You'll get your head Monday afternoon. Here's the moon in sextile to Pluto. Hooray! We got control. And then it's sextiles Mercury around dinner time. All right, we're talking and making words and communicating, and powerful words are going on here Monday afternoon, the 30th. Feels pretty good. Look out, though. Yeah, because up ahead we got some problems. On Tuesday, which is the 31st of January, the moon's squaring Saturn. It's cold. Now, when you start your week, by the way, Venus at 24 Pisces is squaring Saturn at 24 Sag. So there's not a lot of comfort and love around the first part of your next week. No, not at all. As Venus goes by the square to Saturn, she's not happy either. Hard to find much sweets and pleasure during this period. And so you're going to feel it kind of sharp Monday night, Tuesday morning. There is here a conjunction to Venus where you might squeeze out a little sweets and pleasure. It's in the middle of Tuesday, 31st. And then as you go towards the evening of Tuesday, here's a conjunction to Mars. Mars and Venus are kind of close here, and they're both in Pisces. Well, by the time you get to Tuesday, Mars has moved into Aries. He likes Aries. Yes, he does. And, you'll find that he's pretty randy. That's a good word. So hopefully him and Venus aren't too far apart. But Romeo, he's not as afflicted. Venus, poor girl, she had a hit from Saturn. And probably needs a hero around. There's Mars. He shows up Tuesday afternoon and evening, the hero. Take care of her. That's the feeling as you go through Tuesday night. On Wednesday, the 1st, there's a nice sextile to the sun. And you got a plan. It's in the early afternoon. And you're in Aries. And so, there's charge 'em. Just get the plan together, though. And don't count on implementing right away, because Wednesday night, 9-10 o'clock, the moon squares Pluto, and eek a bug, there's a little panicky, little problems, and you're in that zone where that Uranus-Jupiter thing is happening. And, here, what happens? Let's take a look at the details of it. It's a little tricky when the moon goes by Uranus. It starts with a little panickiness. That's Wednesday evening, 9-10 o'clock or so. And then around midnight or something, the moon hits Uranus. And there's power problems and quakes and shakings and twirlies and tornadoes and all manner of upsetting kinds of things. Feel a little alone? Well, that's normal then. Thursday morning, early, here's the moon opposing Jupiter, and too many people making too much noise, and we're not happy with the rich people and the 1% at all. So this is a very revolutionary time, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. People wake up and they realize they're being ripped off, and all the money's flowing to the rich, rich, rich. What are you going to do? Take them to court? Well, the judge might help. Here's a trine to Saturn, the judge. You know, main thing is stop buying the products of the rip-off artists. Get something healthy in your body instead of junk food. You'll understand that Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, the moon goes into Taurus, and it all settles out a little bit. Taurus is a fixed earth sign, and goes from here, Thursday afternoon, to Saturday afternoon. And it likes luxury, and Taurus is very oriented towards pleasure and luxuries. You'll feel it when it shifts from Aries, which is the hot, angry sign, into Taurus, which is a Venus sign. So on Thursday afternoon, you're shifting from Romeo and going into your Juliet phase. So you should start to enjoy yourself a little bit. Friday in the middle of the day, the moon sextiles Neptune, and there's some dreamy stuff around, some inspiration from the heart. And Taurus, this is kind of nice. I would expect Neptune could give you some beautiful images and music here. But as you go into the evening Friday, here's the moon squaring Saturn, and your plans aren't going through. So don't stick to them and be stubborn. Taurus is a very stubborn sign. Give up your plans. A couple hours later, around 11 or 12, the moon trines Pluto. There's a discovery of something new, something fun. It'll be okay, don't worry. Saturday, the 4th, the moon's still in Taurus, and you're still feeling kind of in control. In the afternoon, here's a nice trine to Mercury, and you can talk and walk, and the kids are happy, and your mind is working well. Just before dinner, the moon shifts in to Gemini, and when it does, the vibes change again. And here's the sextile to Venus. Here's some sweets and some love. Here's Juliet. She's feeling a little better after her cold period. You know, Saturn squaring her. So hopefully she's been rescued a little bit by... Here's Mars. So Venus, Saturday night, huh? The 4th. Good time for love. Good time for sweets. Good time to be with somebody real special. Saturday night. Sunday morning, you get up. You're full of vim and vigor. There's a nice sextile to Mars. The Venus must have treated him well because he's feeling good. And you can get a lot of stuff done Sunday morning. After lunch, however, here's a square to Neptune. Moon squares Neptune. There's a little confusion. And you want to ease off and just take it easy Sunday, middle of the day and into the evening. Here, late Sunday night, this is like 10, 11 o'clock. The moon trines the sun, and then it goes on and sextiles Uranus. So you get a project going, you can make ideal things happen here. There could be some Aquarian things going on. Yes. Well, if it weren't for the judge and the laws, here's the sun saying, I want to do this. Here's Uranus, the science, the environmentalists saying, yes, we can all get together. Common sense rules. And then here's the trine to Jupiter. Even the lawyers and rich people will agree. It all looks pretty good. And then Monday after lunch, here's the opposition to Saturn. And the judge says, wait a minute, there's laws. I'm not too happy with laws in general. In my life, laws have not done very well. Maybe it's because we're electing the wrong people to make them. And once they're made, they were stuck in cement, and the drug war goes on and on and on and on. You know, it's a terrible thing once they start these things. Well, Here's another wise saying somebody sent me. Adults are obsolete children. Comes from Dr. Seuss. I don't think I spelled his name correctly, but you all read Dr. Seuss books when you were young, huh? Adults are obsolete children. Well, here's a raven. This is the Hawaiian raven. Whoever got this thing going obviously saw some real ravens, because you can see, oops, excuse me, a little circle of feathers around the raven's eyes. That's a alala, Hawaiian raven. Smartest bird in the world, yes. But we've been mucking it up now that it's involved with a whole bunch of laws. And it's my sad duty, if you didn't see it in the news, and you may not have, to tell you that, by the way, show 1047 started with a piece on the Hawaiian raven. That was quite nice. And you saw it probably on the 24th or so of December. And on the 28th, we got the sad news that these guys went ahead with their plans and released some birds, and they released 5, and they thought they had them carefully prepared. However, 3 of them died right away. You might recall that I've been, in my researches about Konane, I ran into Captain Cook's testimony. He said 200,000 people lived along the Kona coast of the Big Island, and the most common house pet was a large black bird. Yes. Captain King and Captain Clark also noted the bird was so common. The Hawaiians had a wonderful raven, turned out to have a bigger vocabulary, used tools, a wonderful bird, one they picked out of 4 or 5 ravens when they first got to the islands back 1,000 years ago. So the goose, the nene, and the alala, the raven, were Hawaiian domesticated animals. The raven in the house, the goose in the yard. And Captain Cook and Captain King and Captain Clark all commented on these guys a lot. There's no question they were domesticated. For how long? Well, probably 1,000 years, at least. So, this is a difficult problem. August 2013. And yes, the DLNR got $500,000, $500,000 for the Big Island to spend. They not only just saved the alala, that's a big thing to save it, but now they've embarked upon the program of reintroducing this bird to the wild, and the nene, these domestic animals. The Hawaiian raven has an IQ about similar to a 7-year-old, by the way. Yeah. Now, I have done a lot of work on the ground about the nene. And there are those that would have you believe that the nene was saved and successfully reintroduced to the wild. No. Only place I ever saw nenes was in the wild years ago was up in Haleakala Crater, where there was nothing but a few geese. These, geese have that goose feather ear. They can stand the cold. I saw them on the mainland just skating around on the ice. Yes. So they can go to higher altitudes and maybe get by. But you know what happened? They put some out in the wild, and they went to golf courses. Yeah, we got a nice flock. You can go up there and see them, on the golf course up in the middle of our island. And there's nenes at the big hotel, Waikoloa. They feed them. They had some nenes over by Volcano, and they lost a lot of the flock because the guys at Volcano were afraid to feed them. So these guys have to avoid the predators. They like a golf course because they can see anything coming. Golf courses poison rodents, random cats, dogs, mongooses. A lot of the guys that take the chicks are gone from golf courses, so they go there. It's not a pretty good place for a goose. Anyway, they haven't been successfully reintroduced to the wild. They just were a little luckier than the raven because they started breeding them up in cold weather. You know, when the ravens were all in the cages along, you know, trying to replicate them a bit, there was just a few. The guy, one of the husband of the lady who was in charge, sprayed the bird cages with Roundup and killed half of the ravens. Yeah, they were all excited when they sprayed it, and a few days later the ravens were dead. So, I don't know, but here we go. They released 5. They're not crows, they're ravens, get it straight. So they released 5. 3 of them died right away. And I'm not going to go through all of this with you because it makes me very sad. But there's rice bowls at stake. There's the plan and the law and all of that. And anyway, these were all males. You know, the ravens mate for life, by the way. If you want them out there any place outside, you should have a male and a female. And you see them if you take the highway from LA to Vegas. They're out on the road going through stuff. There's always 2. Yeah. So the ignorance here is pervasive. It's not a crow, it's a raven. Come on, guys. Ravens are all over the world. Mankind's best bird friend. Geese are really, man, the guy who wrote the book on geese said next to the dog, the goose is man's best friend. You know, there are ravens in the Tower of London. Yes, talk. The Russian president was on tour a few years ago, walked into the Tower of London. There was a raven sitting there greeting people. Hello, welcome to the Tower of London. The Russian president was blown away. So, you know, ravens are in your movies. They're everywhere. They're one of man's best buddies. This raven is the smartest with the biggest vocabulary of any of the ravens. Smart, uses tools. These guys, you know, we don't know what killed them. You know, maybe it was the hawks. You know, they've been run. I told them, I sent them letters and explained these were domestic animals. And I got the word out. Turned out the old bird man here, when he heard that Nene was a domestic animal, he said, yes, I knew it all the time. I've been saying it for years, and then he retired. At any rate, you wouldn't release a 7-year-old off into the forest. These guys said, they trained him, they checked him out, they had food stations, blah, blah, blah. Anything to keep the money flowing. Yeah. 5 birds out of 100. I'm very sad. I'm going to write it up and do a video and try to present this thing again so these guys understand they're messing around with the Hawaiians' pets. People at the bird sanctuary know that this is a temporary thing. When I informed them some years ago they were domestic pets, they started ramping up to other Hawaiian birds, keep their rice bowls going. But you know, we need to have people in farms and houses and hotels to volunteer to take a couple of ravens and keep them in hollies to save this species. That's what has to be done. There he is. They sit outside in the tree, Heckle and Jekyll, my 2 minor bird friends, and they watch me. They want cat food. And they're pretty tame now. They come down within a couple feet of me. I don't know whether that's Heckle or Jekyll. But they're Corvus. Very smart. Yes, that's you. I'm trying to teach them to whistle. But they make a lot of sounds. Make a lot of sounds, but they haven't learned to whistle yet. Anyway. Want cat food? Yes, he says. He does. Okay, I admit it. I was badly shaken when Mr. Trump got elected. But then I've been through this before with Ralph Nader and Mr. Gore. And a lot of the heroes in my life have been assassinated like Kennedy or missed, fake elections. So I'm kind of horrified by this, but I've been working on it a bit. And, it's noticeable he was born in 46. He's at the end of Woodstock, and he should have some Uranus power. But when you look at his chart, here he is, 29 Leo rising. Here's the Sun conjunct the North Node, conjunct Uranus. And it trines here to Jupiter. And, I think maybe that Mr. Trump just put all the people together, like the coal miners, put them back to work. Oh yeah, oil companies, let them drill. The environmentalists bail out of the Paris Agreement. He just went after every little cohort, every little group he could find and told them their favorite lie. Now, just because Trump says all these things doesn't mean he's going to do them. No, he may turn around totally on global warming. There's hope yet. He has some inherent common sense. He uses it. This Uranus thing, there's his tweets. There's his ability to make friends with his enemies and his partners. And so, it may not be as bad as we think. We'll have to see what actually happens. Not happy with the people he's empowering. Remember when the Bush people took over Washington, D.C.? Eek! Next thing we knew, the weapons of mass destruction lies. Next thing we knew, we're at war. I lose heart when I see the smartest bird in the world sacrificed for money.